Hello, welcome to the Craig's Motel. My name's Conan. In today's 101 video, we're going to be looking at BPM detection in the MPC Standalone. Let's jump in. Okay, before we get right into it, BPM, beats per minute. Bear in mind, if you're sampling older songs, actually even newer songs, if you're sampling live musicians, the BPM is going to be approximate. Drummers, musicians, they fluctuate in speed. Even if they're the best drummer in the world, there's going to be a slight difference. So it is an approximation. If you're working with loops that are quantized in a computer, etc., then they're going to be dead on most of the time. But live musicians, there is going to be a fluctuation. So it will be approximate. So as is always the case in the MPC, there's more than one way to do things. And there's a couple of techniques that I use to work out BPM. Some of them are really, really old techniques, and some of them are using the BPM detect software in the actual MPC Standalone. So to start with, number one, this is a technique which my uncle told me about when I first ever started working in studios in the early 80s. And that would basically be, we had a stopwatch in the studio, and when we hit start, we would count how many beats there were in 10 seconds, and then we would times that by 6 with the calculator. And that would tell us approximately, but pretty close, if we counted correctly in the 10 seconds, that would give us the BPM. Now, we used that technique for years because there wasn't really any other way of doing it. And we needed to know the BPM of tracks a lot of the time to dial in the delays. Again, there was no sync delay in those days. You would have to go onto the delay machine and actually dial it in milliseconds yourself. Or on some of the really early Echo machines, obviously, you didn't even have that. You just had to use your ear. But that is the first way, and I still use that sometimes. If I'm in certain situations where I don't have software at hand, etc., I will do that. As soon as I hit the stopwatch start, I will count 1, and then I will count up to 10 seconds, stop the stopwatch, times that by 6. Technique number 2 in the MPC, really, really simple. You've got the tap tempo here. So I'm in the main screen. I've got a beat already put in. Now, when I'm in the main screen, when I tap tempo to get the tempo of the sample, it will actually change the tempo of the project. So let's go. So that's gone to 103, but it was on 101. I'm going to guess that it was probably 101, and it was just that towards the end, I didn't tap it correctly. But the more you tap it, the more you get in time, the better your timing is, etc., the closer that you're going to get. Now, again, this is an approximation, but it gets you in a pretty good place. And I happen to know that the BPM of this sample is 101 BPM, 101 point something. Like I said, it's always an approximation. But the MPC, with its AI, it does a pretty good job of detecting the actual speed. And I'll show you how to use the actual AI BPM detection in a second. But again, that's another really, really quick way of just dialing in the sample speed and also at the same time getting your project to be the speed of the sample, if that's what your intention is. So technique number 3 is to use the actual BPM detect in the MPC. So if we go into sample edit, you can see at the moment it's actually 95.08. That's probably what the MPC thought it was when I had the whole sample in there. Now, this is the thing with the BPM detect, the MPC likes things to be chopped up in a robotic way as such. So 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar. It likes 4/4. It can detect not necessarily 4/4, but it's inconsistent. And basically the BPM detect thing is inconsistent, but 99% of the time is pretty good. It gets it pretty close. It really does depend on what kind of beat that you've sampled or what piece of music that you've sampled. So we've got the sample in here. I've chopped it up into 2 bars. So that's 8 beats because it's 4/4. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So we would actually be initially in this page, in the trim page. This is what we would see. But if we press this arrow here, it takes us into a detection page, if you like. I don't know what you would call it, where we can detect the key, we can detect the BPM, and the final one, the key detect the BPM, and from BPM, that's right. Okay, I'll show you how to use that one in a second because that's useful sometimes. So the quickest way to do it is to just hit the detect button. And simply, you can use the tap tempo again, so you can hit the sample and tap along, but that's not going to be much different from finding out the tempo on the main page. Although obviously this way it doesn't change your project BPM. I don't think so anyway. So you can do that, hit the sample, tap tempo, or you can just press detect and it will do a detection for you. It tends to be pretty good if you've got a regular type sort of drum beat or sample that's got drums in it and you've chopped it into 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, 8 bar, etc. So 101.08, I would say that's a pretty good detection because I know that's pretty much what it is. So it will then appear in here. And also if you go back to this page, you've now got the BPM down there. So that's giving you the BPM. That's a quick way of doing it using the BPM detector in the MPC. Like I said, there's loads of different ways. These are the ways that I tend to use. Now, what happens if, for instance, okay, so we've got 2 bars here. What happens if we've got 5 beats? It's not a whole bar, or not 2 whole bars. So now we're going to have 1 bar and then 1 beat from the next bar. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 beats in there. Now, if I just chop that up, so there we go. Now we've got the 5 beats in the, we've got 1 bar and 1 beat. If I was to use BPM detect here, watch what happens. Doesn't like it whatsoever. 161.82, and we know that that's not the speed of the sample. So what you could do here is if you go into this one, the first one, edit tuning, you write that you've got 8 beats, it automatically is going to give you an approximation of the actual BPM. So that's a good way to work out, like say if it was 6 beats, you see what's happening here, 4 beats, but it isn't. I know that it's 5 beats, so it's giving me an approximation. So let's just say, for instance, that it was completely off. It was 88.14. Then we go to this. You see, it automatically detects it. As soon as you put in the amount of beats, automatically detected. So that's a really, really good way of finding out the BPM as well. Now, this actual function can be used for other things as well, but I'm not going to go into that today because this 101 video is just about BPM detection. So there you have it. They are the 3 quick ways that I use to find out the BPM of a sample in the MPC. Now, as I said, bear in mind that this is approximate, especially if you're working with live musicians. There's going to be fluctuations in the speed. Now, this especially happens, and this can be a real nightmare actually. If you take, for instance, quite a lot of tracks that we sample, funk tracks, jazz, etc., will have a drum beat at the start, and then you might want to sample something later on in the track, piece of vocal or a loop or something like that. Or you might want to sample 3 or 4 loops throughout a song. I've done that a ton of times. The thing is, the problem that you have is that quite often the BPM will fluctuate. For instance, Bob James' Nautilus, I think I've pretty much sampled every single bar, possibly every single note in that particular record. For me, it's my most sampled track of all time. And I know that if I sample the first 4 bars and then sample the drum beat later on, they're different speeds. And the problem that you have is because the BPM's different, if you want to match BPM, then say you wanted the track to be 100 BPM, so you get the first part of the song at 100 BPM, and then you loop later on in the song and it's at 101 BPM. To get it at 100 BPM, you're going to have to change the speed of it, and that's going to change the tuning of it. And that is where all of the warping, time stretching, etc. comes into play in the MPC, which is obviously a lot more in depth, and I'm not going to cover it today. But just bear that in mind, that at a very, very basic level, if you're taking samples from different parts of a live track, the chances are the BPMs are going to be different. And when you match the BPMs, your key is going to be slightly off. It's not going to be off by a lot, although actually, here's a good example. Good Times by Chic. Actually, a better example, Crusaders' Street Life. That fluctuates from 112 BPM to 136 BPM and then goes back down to about 118 BPM. T-Connection, Do What You Want to Do. That's another one. When the drum break comes in on that, the speed is completely different than the start of the record. So do bear that in mind when you're working out BPMs and stuff. With live musicians, there is massive fluctuation sometimes. Most of the time, it's only a small amount. So thanks for watching. This is The Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.